Lucas Evans had it all: wealth, power, and charm. But when he accepted a $1 million bet to marry a woman who didn't fit his usual glamorous type, he had no idea it would change his life in ways he never imagined. What started as a game, a simple challenge to marry a plus-size woman for 6 months, turned into a lesson in humility, love, and personal transformation. Lucas, used to manipulating people with his money and charisma, would soon find himself facing a woman who didn't care about his fortune. She would challenge him, push him, and in the end, leave him questioning everything he thought he knew about life, love, and himself. Before the story begins, comment below with your location. If this story inspires you, remember to subscribe because we have something extra special coming your way tomorrow. It all began on a cool autumn evening in the heart of the city. Lucas, dressed in a tailored suit in the picture of confidence, was mingling at one of his closest friends' parties. Mark Lawson, a fellow millionaire and longtime friend, knew Lucas well, perhaps too well. As the night went on, Mark approached Lucas with an idea that would shift the course of his life. "You've always been the guy who wins no matter what, haven't you?" Mark asked with a grin. Lucas smirked, sipping his whiskey. "Of course. Name the game, I'll beat it." Mark leaned in, lowering his voice. "What if I told you there's one thing you couldn't do? I bet you wouldn't marry a woman who doesn't fit your usual type." Lucas raised an eyebrow. "What's that supposed to mean?" "You're always with these model types, Lucas, but I bet you $1 million you wouldn't marry someone different, someone who doesn't fit society's idea of beauty." Lucas laughed. "That's it? $1 million just to marry someone? Done. How long do I have to stay married?" 6 months, Mark replied. "No divorce, no walking away early. You've got to stay married to her for the full time." Without hesitation, Lucas shook Mark's hand, sealing the deal. To Lucas, this was just another challenge, a simple way to prove his dominance and walk away with $1 million reward. Little did he know the woman he would marry was about to turn his world upside down. A few days later, Lucas received details about the woman Mark had in mind. Her name was Anna Reed. She was nothing like the women Lucas usually dated, far from the glamorous models and influencers that filled his social calendar. Anna was a plus-size woman in her late 20s, working as a community organizer. She had no interest in wealth, status, or the superficial things Lucas valued. Instead, she spent her time helping others and making a difference in the community. To Lucas, she was just another piece in the game, and he wasn't concerned with who she was. He only needed to stay married for 6 months. He arranged to meet Anna at one of the most expensive restaurants in the city, confident that he could charm her into falling for him, just as he had with so many others before. But when Anna walked into the restaurant, Lucas was immediately caught off guard. She wasn't fazed by the luxurious setting or by the fact that she was dining with a millionaire. She walked in with confidence, completely at ease. "You must be Anna," Lucas said, extending his hand. "And you must be Lucas Evans," she replied, shaking his hand firmly. There was no sign of nervousness or awe. She was calm, collected, and not the least bit intimidated. As they sat down for dinner, Lucas tried to steer the conversation in the direction he was comfortable with, talking about his business, his success, and the lifestyle he had built. But Anna wasn't interested. In fact, she seemed almost bored by it. Instead of being impressed by his wealth, she asked him direct questions about his values and how he viewed the world. Lucas, used to women who were mesmerized by his status, found himself slightly unsettled. He wasn't used to someone who didn't care about his money or his power. Anna was different, and it became clear to him that she wasn't there to play along with his game. "Why did you agree to this?" Lucas asked, genuinely curious. "I know about the bet," Anna said bluntly. "I'm not naive, Lucas, but I agreed because I want to see who you really are. I'm not here for your money, and I'm not here to impress you. I'm comfortable with who I am, and I'm not going to change that for anyone." Lucas was taken aback by her directness. He had expected someone who would be easy to charm, someone who would be thrilled to be in his world. But Anna was proving to be a much bigger challenge than he had anticipated. As the evening wore on, Lucas found himself intrigued. Anna wasn't like anyone he had ever met. She wasn't impressed by his status or his wealth, and that made her more interesting than any woman he had ever known. But he still believed he could win. He had to. The bet was simple: marry her, stay married for 6 months, and walk away with $1 million. What could possibly go wrong? But as Lucas would soon find out, Anna wasn't just a challenge. She was about to turn his world upside down. In the days that followed their first meeting, Lucas couldn't get Anna out of his mind. He wasn't used to being rattled, but something about her composure, her quiet confidence, had stuck with him. Lucas Evans was a man who thrived on control. And yet here he was, feeling like the power dynamic had shifted ever so slightly. Determined not to let this challenge get the better of him, Lucas arranged their next meeting. This time, he decided to switch things up. Instead of a high-end restaurant, he suggested something more casual, a coffee shop in the heart of the city. He thought maybe taking it down a notch would allow him to figure her out. But when he arrived, Anna was already sitting there, sipping her tea with the same calm demeanor that had thrown him off the first time. "Surprised you picked a place like this?" Anna said as he sat down, a small smile playing on her lips. Lucas smirked, trying to regain control of the situation. Sometimes it's good to break the routine. Their conversation flowed more easily this time, but it became clear to Lucas that Anna wasn't going to make this easy for him. She was sharp, witty, and entirely uninterested in the superficial topics that usually dominated his conversations. He tried to steer the dialogue back to familiar territory, his business ventures, his wealth, but Anna kept it grounded. "I'm not interested in your money, Lucas," she said at one point, her eyes locking onto his. "If this is going to work, I need you to understand that. I'm here because I agreed to be, not because I want a part of your world." Lucas found himself nodding, though inwardly he was frustrated. This was supposed to be easy, but as they continued to talk, he realized something. He was intrigued. There was more to Anna than he had expected, and though he still viewed this marriage as part of the bet, he couldn't deny that she was different. Unlike the women he usually pursued, Anna had depth, a strength that challenged his very perception of what made someone valuable. The day of the wedding arrived sooner than Lucas expected. The ceremony was nothing like the lavish affairs he was accustomed to. It was simple, understated, and barely attended by anyone except a few close friends and family. Lucas couldn't help but feel that this was all part of the plan for Anna. She was going to challenge him every step of the way, and that both irritated and intrigued him. After the vows were exchanged and the legalities taken care of, Lucas escorted Anna back to his penthouse, a place that had always served as a monument to his success. It was massive, full of high-end decor, and had an unbeatable view of the city. In Lucas's mind, this was where he would start to win her over. After all, who wouldn't be impressed by such luxury? But when Anna walked in, she took one look around and simply nodded. "It's a nice place," she said, her tone neutral, "but it's just a place." That one sentence hit Lucas harder than he expected. It was just a place. He had spent years building this empire of wealth and status, and to Anna, it was nothing more than a backdrop. The first few weeks of their marriage were uneventful on the surface. Lucas continued with his work, running his business, and doing everything in his power to show Anna the life she could have if she embraced his world. He took her to exclusive dinners, introduced her to high-profile clients, and even offered her access to his wealth in ways that most people would have jumped at, but Anna resisted at every turn. "I don't need these things, Lucas," she said more than once. "You think they define you, but they don't define me. I'm happy with my life as it is." Her words left him stunned, and for the first time, Lucas began to wonder if winning this bet would be more difficult than he ever imagined. He had expected resistance, but not this kind of strength. Still, Lucas was determined. He was used to getting what he wanted, and he was confident that, given enough time, Anna would eventually be won over by his lifestyle. After all, no one had ever resisted him for long. But as the days turned into weeks, Lucas found himself feeling more unsettled. Every conversation with Anna felt like a battle he wasn't sure he could win, and deep down, Lucas started to question whether he even wanted to. Lucas's frustration grew with each passing day. He wasn't used to this. In his world, everything and everyone could be influenced, persuaded, or bought. Yet Anna seemed immune to the tactics that had worked for him his entire life. She was polite, but firm. She was kind, but detached, no matter how much luxury he flaunted, how many gifts he bought, or how much access he offered her to his elite social circle. Anna remained steadfast in her refusal to be impressed by it all. One evening, after a particularly uneventful dinner, Lucas found himself sitting alone in his penthouse, staring out at the city. Normally, he would feel a sense of pride looking over the vast skyline, each skyscraper, each light a symbol of his success. But tonight, it all felt hollow. He had everything, yet it felt like he had nothing. And the fact that Anna didn't care about any of it was starting to bother him more than he wanted to admit. He glanced at his phone, half expecting a message from one of his business associates or a dinner invitation from someone in his social circle. But instead, his thoughts drifted to Anna. Despite their arrangement, she kept her distance, always returning to her own apartment after dinner. He had expected her to gradually fold into his life, but she wasn't playing the game the way he had anticipated. Determined to take control of the situation, Lucas decided that he needed to change his approach. If Anna wasn't going to be impressed by material things, Perhaps it was time to show her a different side of himself. Maybe he had been too focused on flaunting his wealth. Maybe what he needed was to connect with her on a deeper level. The next morning, Lucas invited Anna to lunch at a quiet park near her community center. It was a far cry from the lavish settings he typically chose, but he hoped the simplicity would break down some of the barriers between them. As they sat together on a bench overlooking the pond, Lucas made an effort to ask about her work, something he had never done before. So tell me about what you do at the community center, he said, genuinely curious. Anna seemed slightly surprised by the question, but welcomed the opportunity to talk about something meaningful to her. We help organize programs for underprivileged families, she explained. We provide after-school activities for kids, job training for adults, and offer support for those struggling to make ends meet. It's challenging, but it's the most fulfilling work I've ever done. Lucas listened, nodding along. Normally, he would have brushed off such a conversation as irrelevant to his world of high-stakes business deals, but something about the way Anna spoke caught his attention. Her passion, her dedication, it was something he hadn't seen before in the people he surrounded himself with. Most people wanted to talk about money, status, or connections, but Anna cared about people, real people. That's impressive, Lucas found himself saying, and for once he meant it. He wasn't sure what was happening, but he felt a small shift in the way he saw her. Anna wasn't just a part of the bet anymore. She was someone with a purpose, someone who didn't need his validation or approval. Anna smiled softly, acknowledging his sincerity. Thanks. It's not glamorous, but it's important. Lucas, always quick to jump in with a counterpoint, found himself momentarily lost for words. He had never considered that importance could be measured in anything other than wealth or success. But here was Anna, living a life that didn't revolve around money, and she seemed happier than he was. They finished their lunch, and as Anna left to return to work, Lucas watched her go, feeling something strange, a mixture of admiration and confusion. How could someone be so content without the things he had spent his entire life chasing? Later that evening, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed within him. It wasn't dramatic, but it was there, an awareness that perhaps his life, despite all its luxuries, was missing something. And somehow, Anna had sparked that realization. The next few days passed quietly, but Lucas couldn't stop thinking about Anna's world. He began to pay more attention to the way she carried herself, how she interacted with people, and how she always seemed so grounded despite the differences in their lives. One evening, after Anna had declined yet another one of Lucas's invitations to attend a high-profile dinner, he finally broke. "What is it with you, Anna?" Lucas asked, his frustration boiling over. "Why do you refuse to let me show you what life could be like? I've given you every opportunity, and you just—" "I don't want that life, Lucas," Anna interrupted, her voice calm but firm. "I never did. You think all of this," she gestured around his penthouse, "is going to make me happy, but it won't. I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with who I am, and you need to understand that." Lucas stood there stunned. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. No one had ever refused what he had to offer, and for the first time, Lucas began to realize that maybe, just maybe, it wasn't Anna who needed to change. Lucas stood frozen, staring at Anna after her words sank in. For years, he had operated under the assumption that success was about accumulating wealth, power, and influence. Anyone who didn't understand that was either too naive or simply hadn't experienced the world the way he had. But now, as he looked at Anna, he realized that she wasn't rejecting his lifestyle out of ignorance. She simply didn't value it the way he did. And for the first time, Lucas didn't have a response. "I don't understand," Lucas finally said, his voice quieter now. "How can you be satisfied with so little? Don't you want more?" Anna met his gaze, her expression softening but remaining firm. "More of what, Lucas? More stuff, more things? I don't need that. I've never measured my worth by how much money I have or the things I own. I find joy in helping people, in making a difference. That's what matters to me." Lucas was at a loss. It was as though she spoke a language he didn't understand. All his life, he had been taught that happiness came from success, and success came from material wealth. But Anna didn't seem to follow those rules. Her contentment, her calm, it was entirely foreign to him. Anna sighed, sensing the tension between them. "I'm not asking you to change who you are, Lucas, but I am asking you to see things from a different perspective. Maybe happiness isn't about what you own or how much power you have. Maybe it's about finding purpose." Lucas stared at her for a moment longer before nodding slowly, though he wasn't entirely sure he believed her. "I'll think about it," he muttered, feeling more confused than ever. The conversation left Lucas reeling. He had always believed he knew what he wanted, what life was about. But Anna's words had opened a door to a possibility he had never considered, that perhaps he had been chasing the wrong things all along. As the days passed, Lucas found himself questioning everything. He had never really taken the time to evaluate his life beyond the surface level. Success, wealth, power. Those were the things he had always focused on. But now he couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. And it was Anna's presence in his life that had stirred this sense of doubt within him. One afternoon, Lucas decided to visit the community center where Anna worked. He hadn't told her he was coming, and he wasn't sure what he hoped to gain from the visit, but curiosity drove him. As he walked into the modest building, he felt out of place. The people there weren't the polished, high society types he was used to. Instead, they were ordinary folks, mothers, children, and volunteers, all working together to make a difference in their small corner of the world. Lucas spotted Anna in the back, leading a group of children through an art project. She hadn't seen him yet, and for a moment, Lucas just watched her. She was smiling, engaged, and completely at ease. The children responded to her with enthusiasm, and Lucas could see the genuine connection she had with them. It was clear that Anna found meaning here, in this simple, unpretentious place. After a few minutes, Anna glanced up and noticed Lucas standing in the doorway. Her expression shifted from surprise to curiosity. She excused herself from the group of children and walked over to him, wiping her hands on her jeans. "You came," she said, raising an eyebrow. "Didn't expect to see you here." Lucas shrugged, suddenly feeling awkward. "I wanted to see what you do. You talk about it a lot, and I guess I was curious." Anna smiled slightly, though her tone was still measured. "Well, this is it. This is where I spend my time." Lucas glanced around the room again, taking in the lively energy of the children and volunteers. "It's different," he said, unsure of how else to describe what he was feeling. "It is," Anna agreed. "But it's important. These kids, these families, they're facing real challenges, and this place gives them a chance to feel supported, like they belong somewhere." Lucas nodded, not entirely understanding but wanting to. "And this makes you happy?" Anna looked at him thoughtfully. "It gives me purpose, Lucas. It makes me feel like I'm contributing to something bigger than myself. Isn't that what we all want, in the end? To feel like we matter?" Lucas fell silent, unsure of how to respond. He had never really thought about life that way. He had always assumed that his success, his money, made him matter, but now for the first time, he was beginning to wonder if that was really true. The visit to the community center stayed with Lucas long after he left. He couldn't stop thinking about the people he had seen, the joy and connection that filled the room despite the lack of material wealth. It was so different from the world he had built for himself, where everything revolved around status and possessions. For the first time, Lucas found himself questioning whether the life he had worked so hard to build was truly making him happy. Later that night, as Lucas sat alone in his penthouse, the silence felt heavier than usual. The city lights sparkled outside his window, but they didn't bring him the same sense of accomplishment they once had. Instead, Lucas found himself reflecting on Anna's words. Maybe happiness wasn't about what you owned or the power you wielded. Maybe it was about something deeper, something he had been missing all along. He wasn't sure what to do with this new realization. But one thing was becoming clear. The more time he spent with Anna, the more he felt the foundation of his life begin to shift. The days after his visit to the community center passed slowly for Lucas. It was as if a fog had settled over his once clear view of the world. Every morning he woke up in his grand penthouse, but the satisfaction he used to feel from his wealth had dimmed. He could no longer look at the city skyline and feel the pride that had fueled him for years. Instead, he felt empty, and Anna's words lingered in his mind like a puzzle he couldn't solve. Lucas continued to meet with Anna, still bound by the terms of their 6-month marriage agreement. But with each meeting, something in him shifted further. Their conversations became less about his world and more about hers. He listened more. He questioned himself more. He still didn't fully understand her perspective, but he had come to realize that maybe there was more to life than the power and wealth he had spent years chasing. One evening, over a quiet dinner, Lucas finally voiced the thoughts that had been gnawing at him. "Anna," he began, setting his fork down and looking at her intently. "Why do you think I'm like this?" Anna looked up from her meal, her eyes calm but curious. "Like what?" "Like this," Lucas said, gesturing vaguely around the dining room. "Why do you think I've spent my life chasing success and money? Why is it so important to me?" Anna took a moment to consider his question. "I don't think that's something I can answer for you, Lucas," she said gently. "That's something you need to figure out for yourself. But I think a lot of people believe that success and money will fill whatever void they feel inside. And maybe for a while it does. But eventually, they realize it's not enough. That's when they start looking for something more. Lucas leaned back in his chair, her words settling heavily on him. Something more. That was what he had been feeling lately. That gnawing sense that despite having everything, he was missing something crucial. And you? Lucas asked. Do you feel that void? Anna smiled softly. Sometimes, but I find meaning in the work I do, in the relationships I build. I'm not saying that money doesn't matter at all. It's nice to have security, but I've never let it define my worth. I've learned that it's the people we touch, the impact we make, that fills those voids. Lucas nodded slowly. He had never thought about it that way. His whole life had been about making a name for himself, rising above the competition, and proving that he was the best. But at what cost? And for what? After dinner, Lucas found himself walking alone through the city. It was late and the streets were quieter than usual, but the hum of city life still lingered in the air. He passed the buildings he had once seen as symbols of his power. Towering skyscrapers, luxury stores, elite restaurants, but tonight they didn't hold the same meaning. Instead, he saw them for what they were, mere structures, devoid of the happiness and fulfillment he thought they would bring him. Lucas stopped at a park bench, sitting down and staring up at the night sky. He felt small, as though his empire of wealth and success meant nothing against the vastness of the universe. For the first time in his life, he didn't feel in control. He didn't know what came next, and that uncertainty unnerved him. As he sat there, his phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a message from Mark. Mark, how's the bet going? You winning yet? Lucas stared at the screen, his jaw tightening. The bet, the reason all of this had started. He had almost forgotten about it in the whirlwind of emotions he had been feeling lately. But now the reality of the situation hit him hard. He had agreed to marry Anna as part of a game, a challenge to prove his superiority. And yet here he was, no longer interested in winning, but in understanding. Understanding Anna, understanding himself. For the first time, Lucas felt ashamed. He didn't respond to Mark's message. Instead, he slipped the phone back into his pocket and continued walking, trying to make sense of everything. The bet felt meaningless now. What mattered was something else entirely, something he couldn't quite define yet, but that he knew was important. The next day, Lucas decided to visit Anna at the community center again. This time, he didn't tell her he was coming. He just showed up, hoping to see her in her element, to observe more of the world that had captivated her so deeply. When he arrived, the center was bustling with activity. Children were running around, laughing and playing, while volunteers helped organize different programs. Lucas felt out of place, standing in his expensive suit amidst a sea of ordinary people who were focused on helping others, not on how they looked or what they owned. He spotted Anna near the back of the room, talking to a mother who looked stressed and overwhelmed. Anna's expression was one of genuine concern, and as Lucas watched her comfort the woman, he felt a strange sense of awe. This was Anna's world, one where wealth meant nothing, but compassion and kindness meant everything. Lucas stayed back, watching as Anna worked her way through the crowd, helping wherever she was needed. He realized that this was where she found her fulfillment, not in material things, but in the relationships she built, the people she helped, the lives she touched. For the first time in his life, Lucas wondered if maybe he had been chasing the wrong dream all along. Later that evening, Lucas finally mustered the courage to talk to Anna about what had been weighing on his mind. He invited her to dinner, but this time, he suggested a quiet, out-of-the-way restaurant. Nothing fancy, just a place where they could talk. When they sat down, Lucas felt a sense of nervousness he hadn't experienced in years. He was always the one in control, always the one with the upper hand. But tonight, he felt vulnerable, like he was about to lay his soul bare. Anna, he began, his voice quieter than usual. There's something I need to tell you. She looked at him, her expression calm but attentive. What is it? Lucas took a deep breath. This whole thing, our marriage, the way we met, it started as a bet. The words hung in the air between them, heavy with meaning. Lucas braced himself for Anna's reaction. He had replayed this moment in his head several times, but now, sitting across from her, he wasn't sure what to expect. Anna sat still for a few moments, her expression unreadable. She didn't look shocked, but there was a weight to her silence that made Lucas's chest tighten. After what felt like an eternity, Anna finally spoke. A bet? Her voice was calm, controlled, but there was an edge to it that made Lucas shift uncomfortably in his seat. Yes, Lucas admitted, leaning forward slightly. It started as a bet. Mark, my friend, challenged me to marry someone who didn't fit my usual type. He said I couldn't do it. couldn't stay married for 6 months. It was all a game to prove I could win. Anna's eyes flickered with something, disappointment maybe, but she remained composed. So this was all just about proving you could win a challenge? Lucas winced at how cold and calculating it sounded when she said it aloud. He had never thought much about the morality of it before, but now, with Anna staring at him, the truth felt harsh and ugly. It was at first, Lucas said, his voice softer now. But things changed. You changed me. I didn't expect that. What started as a stupid bet has become something else for me. I'm not proud of how it began, but I'm telling you this because I don't want to keep lying to you. Anna sat back in her chair, folding her arms across her chest. Her expression remained neutral, but Lucas could see the gears turning in her mind. You lied to me, she said simply. Lucas nodded, guilt washing over him. I did, and I'm sorry. I know that's not enough. But I need you to know that this, us, it means something to me now. For a long time, neither of them spoke. The restaurant's soft chatter and clinking glasses filled the silence between them, but to Lucas it felt deafening. He had never been in a position like this before, where he wasn't sure what the outcome would be. Usually he was in control, calling the shots, but tonight he felt completely at her mercy. Finally, Anna let out a slow breath and met his gaze. I appreciate your honesty, Lucas, but this doesn't change the fact that you used me. You made a bet on my life, on my worth, without even knowing who I was. Do you understand how that feels? Lucas's stomach twisted at her words. He hadn't thought of it that way, hadn't considered the emotional toll his actions might have taken on her. For him, it had been a game, but for Anna, it had been real from the beginning. I didn't think about it like that, Lucas admitted, his voice heavy with regret. And I was wrong. I know that now. Anna's eyes softened just a little, but she didn't let him off the hook. Why tell me now? Why not keep playing the game until the 6 months were up? Lucas hesitated, choosing his words carefully. Because I don't care about the bet anymore. I care about you, Anna. I don't want to win some stupid challenge. I want to prove to you that I'm not the person I was when this all started. Anna looked away for a moment, her fingers tracing the edge of her glass. Lucas could see that she was processing everything, and it killed him not knowing where her thoughts would land. When she finally spoke again, her voice was quieter, more vulnerable. I don't know if I can trust you, Lucas. This whole time I thought we were building something genuine, and now I find out it was all part of a bet. Lucas leaned forward, his heart pounding. It's not just a bet anymore. Not to me. I know I've hurt you, and I know I can't take that back. But I want to make this right. I want to be better for you. Anna looked him in the eyes, searching for something. Maybe sincerity, maybe hope. I need time, she said softly. I can't just forgive you overnight. It's a lot to take in. Lucas nodded, his throat tight. Take all the time you need. I'll wait as long as it takes. With that, the conversation seemed to reach a fragile, uneasy truce. Lucas knew there was a long road ahead if he was ever going to earn Anna's trust back. But for now, he was relieved that she hadn't walked away. Not yet, at least. As they left the restaurant, walking silently side by side, Lucas couldn't help but think about how far he had come in the past few months. He had started this journey for all the wrong reasons, driven by arrogance, greed, and the thrill of competition. But now, as he walked beside Anna, he realized that the real challenge wasn't winning the bet. It was becoming the kind of man she could respect, maybe even love. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of emotions for Lucas. The initial excitement of the bet had long since faded, replaced by a newfound urgency to prove himself to Anna. Every interaction was a test, a chance to show her that he was more than just a man who had chased wealth and status. He wanted to be someone worth her time, someone who could genuinely contribute to the world she cared about so deeply. During this time, Lucas immersed himself in Anna's world. He began volunteering at the community center, helping out wherever he could. It wasn't easy for him at first. He was used to making deals, negotiating contracts, and running his business with an iron fist. But here it was different. He was just another volunteer, working alongside Anna and the other staff members to help families in need. At first, the work was daunting. Lucas felt out of his element, struggling to connect with the people he was trying to help. But as he spent more time at the center, he began to understand the importance of what they were doing. He witnessed firsthand the impact they had on the community, how a simple after-school program could brighten a child's day, or how job training sessions could provide a lifeline for struggling parents. One afternoon, as Lucas was helping set up for a community event, he overheard a conversation between Anna and a mother who had come to the center seeking assistance. The mother was in tears, explaining how she had lost her job and didn't know how she would support her children. Anna listened patiently, offering comfort and support, assuring her that they would help her find resources to get back on her feet. Watching this interaction, Lucas felt a warmth in his chest that he had never experienced before. He realized that this was what Anna had meant when she talked about finding purpose. She wasn't just helping people, she was changing lives. It was a profound moment for Lucas, one that made him question his own life choices and priorities. Later that evening, Lucas approached Anna as they were cleaning up after the event. "You were incredible today," he said, his voice filled with genuine admiration. "I don't know how you do it." Anna smiled, but her expression remained thoughtful. "It's not easy, Lucas. There are days when it feels overwhelming, but knowing that we can make a difference keeps me going." "I've seen the impact you have," Lucas replied. "It's inspiring." Anna looked at him for a moment, searching his face for sincerity. "I appreciate that, Lucas, but you need to understand, it's not about me. It's about the community. These people deserve help, and we're in a position to provide it. It's a responsibility we have to take seriously." Lucas nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He had spent his life thinking about what he could get out of every situation. But Anna's perspective opened his eyes to the idea of giving back, of using his resources to help others rather than simply advancing his own interests. As the weeks turned into months, Lucas continued to support Anna in the community center. He helped organize fundraisers and events, using his business acumen to attract sponsorships and donations. The more he became involved, the more he realized that this was where he wanted to focus his energy, not on accumulating wealth for himself, but on making a real difference in the lives of others. However, despite his efforts, he still felt a lingering tension between him and Anna. She was warming up to him, but there was still a barrier that hadn't been fully broken. Lucas understood that trust was earned, not given, and he was determined to show her that he had changed. One day, as they were preparing for a major fundraising gala, Lucas gathered the courage to ask Anna about their relationship. They were in the center's main room, bustling with volunteers, setting up tables and decorations. "Anna," he began, taking a moment to collect his thoughts, "I know that things have changed between us, but I want to know, where do you see this going? I care about you and I don't want to be just a temporary arrangement anymore." Anna paused, looking at him with a mixture of surprise and contemplation. "I appreciate you saying that, Lucas, but I'm still trying to figure things out. It's hard for me to forget how this all started. I need to know that you're committed to being more than just a bet. You have to understand that I won't just jump into something without knowing it's real." Lucas nodded, feeling the weight of her words. "I get it. And I'm not asking you to forget the past. I just want you to know that I'm serious about this. I want to be a part of your world, not just for the bet, but because I genuinely care about you and what you stand for." Anna searched his eyes, looking for honesty. "It's going to take time, Lucas. Trust isn't built overnight. I've been hurt before, and I need to see that you're in this for the right reasons." "I understand," Lucas said, his voice steady. "I'm willing to wait as long as it takes." As the gala approached, the tension between them seemed to ease. Though there was still an underlying uncertainty, Lucas focused on making the event a success, pouring his energy into the preparations. He was excited to see Anna shine that night, and he hoped that his continued efforts would help bridge the gap between them. When the night of the gala arrived, the community center was transformed into a beautiful venue filled with lights, decorations, and laughter. Lucas watched as Anna moved through the crowd, greeting guests with warmth and enthusiasm. She looked stunning, her natural beauty radiating under the soft lights. As the evening progressed, Lucas felt a sense of pride wash over him. This was what Anna loved, being surrounded by the community she served. He was just a part of it, and that felt significant. The event was a success, with donations pouring in, and Lucas couldn't help but feel that he was playing a role in something important. But as the night came to an end, Lucas noticed that Anna was still holding back. They danced together, but there was a distance in her eyes that made Lucas's heart sink. He wanted to close that gap, to pull her closer and show her how much he had changed, but he could sense her hesitation. As the final guests left, Lucas turned to Anna, gathering his courage. "Tonight was amazing, Anna. You were incredible out there. You've built something wonderful here." "Thank you, Lucas," she said, her voice soft. "But it's not just me, it's a team effort." He took a deep breath, knowing this was his moment. "I want to be part of that team, Anna. I want to be with you. But I also know that I can't force anything. I just need you to know that I'm here, and I'm serious about us." Anna looked at him, and for a fleeting moment, he thought he saw a flicker of hope in her eyes, but then it vanished, replaced by that familiar cautiousness. "Let's take it one step at a time," she said gently. "I appreciate everything you've done, but I still need to see that this is real. I need time to heal and trust again." Lucas nodded, a mixture of relief and disappointment coursing through him. He understood her need for time. He only hoped that it wouldn't take too long. As they parted ways that night, Lucas felt a renewed sense of purpose. He wasn't just in this to win a bet anymore. He was in it to truly understand Anna, to help her, and to find a way to create something real together. As the weeks turned into months, Lucas dedicated himself to Anna and her work at the community center. He was determined to show her that he was serious about changing, not just for her, but for himself. He spent more time volunteering, attending meetings, and interacting with the families that came to the center. With each interaction, he learned something new about compassion and humility, both of which had been foreign concepts in his previous life. Despite the progress, Lucas felt a persistent distance between himself and Anna. They shared laughter, moments of warmth, and even a few intimate conversations, but there was always an underlying tension. Anna was cautious, holding back her feelings as she navigated the complexities of their relationship. Lucas knew she was still processing the revelation of his initial motives, and he couldn't blame her. Trust was fragile, and he was committed to earning it back. One afternoon, as they wrapped up a particularly busy day at the community center, Anna turned to Lucas, her expression serious. "We need to talk," she said, pulling him aside to a quieter corner of the room. Lucas's heart raced. He had been hoping for this moment, but now that it was here, anxiety bubbled to the surface. "What's on your mind?" "I appreciate everything you've done for the center and for me," Anna began, choosing her words carefully. "But I need to know that you're committed to this, us, beyond just the idea of it. I don't want to be part of a game anymore. I need to know if you truly care about this, about me." Lucas nodded, feeling the weight of her words. "I do care, Anna. I know I've messed up in the past, but I've changed. Being with you has shown me a side of life I never knew existed. I want to support you in the work you do, and I want to be with you. But I understand if you need more time." Anna studied his face, searching for sincerity. "Time is one thing, but I also need to see action. I can't ignore how this all began. I won't let myself be blindsided again." Lucas felt a knot form in his stomach. "What can I do to show you that I'm serious? I want to prove that I'm here for the right reasons. Help me understand." Anna's eyes softened a bit, but her resolve remained strong. "Just be genuine. It's easy to say you've changed, but I need to see it. Show me that you're committed to this life, to making a difference, not just for me, but for the community." Lucas nodded, the determination in his heart growing stronger. "I can do that. I'll do whatever it takes to show you that I'm serious about this." As Anna smiled faintly, Lucas felt a flicker of hope. This was the moment he had been waiting for, a chance to prove that he was more than just a man who played games. Over the next few weeks, Lucas made it his mission to support Anna in every way he could. He organized fundraisers, connected with local businesses for sponsorships, and spent countless hours volunteering alongside Anna and the team. He immersed himself in the work at the community center, attending workshops, and learning about the challenges faced by families in the neighborhood. With each passing day, Lucas found himself feeling more fulfilled than he ever had in the corporate world. He saw the direct impact of their efforts, the joy on children's faces during after-school programs, the gratitude of families receiving assistance, and the camaraderie among volunteers. It was a stark contrast to the cutthroat world of business he was used to, and it felt invigorating. But despite his efforts, there were still moments when Anna's walls would rise. Lucas could sense her hesitation, and while they were growing closer, he knew they hadn't fully crossed that bridge into trust and vulnerability. One evening, after a long day of working together at the center, they found themselves alone in the break room. Lucas decided it was time to address the tension that still lingered. "Anna," he said gently, leaning against the counter, "I can feel the distance between us sometimes. I want to know what's holding you back. What can I do to help you feel secure?" Anna took a deep breath, her eyes reflecting a mixture of emotions. "It's complicated, Lucas. I've been hurt before, and I can't just forget that because things are going well now. You have to understand that rebuilding trust takes time." "I do understand," Lucas replied, sincerity etched in his features. "But I want to be a part of your life, to show you that I'm committed to this, not just as a bet, but as something real. I want you to see that I'm serious about being with you." She looked at him, searching for the truth in his words. "You say that, but I still feel like there's a part of you that's the same man who made that bet. I need you to let me in more, to share your struggles, your doubts, your fears. It's hard for me to trust someone who keeps parts of themselves hidden." Lucas felt the gravity of her words. He had been so focused on proving himself that he hadn't shared his vulnerabilities. The truth was, he was terrified of losing her. You're right, I haven't been completely open with you. I've spent my whole life building walls, and now I'm struggling to tear them down. But I want to try. I want you to know me, really know me. Anna's expression softened, and Lucas felt a glimmer of hope. Then show me, Lucas. Let me see the real you. No more walls. That night marked a turning point in their relationship. Lucas began sharing stories about his past, his childhood, the pressure to succeed, and the loneliness that often accompanied his wealth. He talked about the struggles he faced in his business, the times he felt lost, and the moments when he questioned whether all the success was worth it. As Lucas opened up, he noticed Anna's demeanor shifting. She listened intently, her eyes never leaving his face. He could see the understanding growing in her expression, and it felt liberating to share these parts of himself with her. Gradually, the tension between them began to dissolve, replaced by a sense of connection that had been missing for so long. Lucas realized that vulnerability was a strength he had never embraced, and it felt like a breath of fresh air. But even as they grew closer, Lucas knew that the path ahead would still be challenging. Anna needed time to fully trust him, and he was willing to be patient. He had come too far to let his old habits sabotage the progress they were making together. As the weeks continued to unfold, Lucas was determined to show Anna that he was serious about their future, whatever that might look like. He had started this journey as a game, but now he was in it for real, ready to fight for the love he never thought he would find. As Lucas continued to immerse himself in Anna's world, the connection between them deepened. He found himself participating in community activities that went beyond fundraising. He joined in the after-school programs, helped with food drives, and even attended town hall meetings to advocate for better resources for families. Each experience brought him closer to Anna and allowed him to see the challenges faced by the people in her community. One Saturday morning, they hosted a family picnic in the park to celebrate the center's achievements and build relationships with the families they served. The atmosphere was lively. Children were laughing, families were bonding, and volunteers were bustling about, making sure everyone felt welcome. Lucas was busy flipping burgers on the grill when he caught a glimpse of Anna across the park, her face lighting up with joy as she played with a group of children. Seeing her like that filled him with warmth. This was the side of Anna he had come to admire, her genuine love for people and her commitment to making a difference. He realized how much he wanted to be a part of her world, not just as her husband for a bet, but as a partner who shared her values. Later, as the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the park, Lucas and Anna found a moment to step away from the festivities. They walked along the tree-lined path, side by side, the sound of laughter fading into the background. "Today was amazing," Lucas said, glancing at Anna. "You really know how to bring people together." Anna smiled, her eyes sparkling. "It's all about creating a sense of community. People need to know they're not alone in this world. That's what we're here for." Lucas nodded, reflecting on her words. He had spent so much of his life focused on his own success that he had overlooked the importance of community and connection. Now he felt a shift within himself, a desire to help others, not just through financial means, but through genuine relationships. As they continued walking, Lucas felt a surge of courage. "Anna, I want to do more. I want to help you in ways that matter, not just at the center, but also in our relationship. I want to be someone you can rely on, someone you can trust." Anna paused, looking at him intently. "What do you mean?" "I want us to build something together," Lucas said, his heart racing. "I don't want to just be your husband in name. I want to be your partner in every sense of the word. I want to share your vision, support your dreams, and help you in any way I can." Anna's expression softened, but there was still a flicker of caution in her eyes. "It's not that easy, Lucas. Trust takes time. You have to understand that I've been hurt before, and I need to know you're really in this for the long haul." "I know," Lucas replied earnestly, "but I'm committed to proving that to you. I want to show you that I'm serious about this. I've learned so much from you already, and I want to keep growing together." Anna smiled faintly, but Lucas could see the hope flickering in her eyes. "That means a lot, Lucas. I appreciate your willingness to change, but I need to see consistent actions over time. It's not just about words." "I understand," Lucas said, "and I'm ready for that challenge. I'll show you that I'm in this for real." As they continued their walk, the conversation flowed more freely, and Lucas felt the weight of the past starting to lift. Anna was opening up, sharing her aspirations for the community center and her dreams for the future. For the first time, he felt a glimpse of what could be, a partnership built on mutual respect, shared values, and genuine love. Over the next few weeks, Lucas dedicated himself to building a strong foundation for their relationship. He spent less time focused on business and more time with Anna, attending her events and participating in community initiatives. They collaborated on projects together, and Lucas felt a deepening bond with her, a connection that went beyond the initial bet that had brought them together. But just as things seemed to be progressing, Lucas's past threatened to rear its ugly head. One evening, he received a call from Mark, who wanted to catch up over drinks. Lucas hesitated. He had distanced himself from his old life, and he wasn't sure he wanted to engage in the same conversations that had once defined him. Still, he agreed, wanting to maintain his friendship. They met at a posh bar, the kind of place Lucas used to frequent before he met Anna. As he entered, the familiar glitz and glamour washed over him, stirring feelings he had thought he had left behind. Mark greeted him with a hearty handshake and a mischievous grin. "Look who it is, the man who's traded in his luxury lifestyle for charity work," Mark teased, clapping him on the back. Lucas forced a smile, trying to shake off the tension in his chest. "It's good to see you, Mark." As they settled into their drinks, Mark began regaling Lucas with stories of their past escapades, lavish parties, business deals, and all the things that had once thrilled him. Lucas found himself caught in a tug of war between the excitement of those memories and the realization that he had outgrown that life. "Come on, Lucas. You're telling me you've really given all that up for a woman? For charity work? What happened to the guy who lived for the thrill?" Mark prodded, his tone playful but probing. "People change, Mark," Lucas replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "I've realized there's more to life than just money and status." Mark raised an eyebrow, clearly unconvinced. "Sure, but don't tell me you're actually happy in that world. What about the bet? Are you still in it?" The question hung in the air, heavy with implications. Lucas felt his heart race. He knew he couldn't lie, but he also didn't want to admit the truth. Not here, not now. "Yeah, I'm still in it, but it's not just a bet anymore," he said, choosing his words carefully. "Anna means a lot to me." Mark leaned back in his chair, assessing Lucas with a critical eye. "You really think you can change? I mean, can you really see a future with her? Or is this just a phase?" Lucas's frustration bubbled to the surface. "I'm not playing a game, Mark. I want this to be real. I care about Anna, and I want to build something with her." Mark shrugged, his expression still skeptical. "Just be careful. The last thing you want is to lose everything you've built for someone who may not see the same future as you do." Lucas took a deep breath, feeling the weight of Mark's words. He had worked hard to distance himself from the superficial life he once led, but the reminders were everywhere. When he returned home that night, Lucas couldn't shake the lingering doubts from his conversation with Mark. He thought about the old life, the thrill of power and wealth, and whether he could truly leave it behind. But when he looked over at Anna, asleep on the couch after a long day at the community center, he knew he had made the right choice. He couldn't lose sight of what was important. He needed to focus on the present, on building a future with Anna, one that didn't revolve around his past mistakes, but was rooted in genuine love and partnership. As he settled into bed beside her, Lucas felt a renewed sense of determination. He wouldn't let anyone, including Mark, bring him back to a life that no longer resonated with who he was becoming. He was ready to embrace the challenges ahead, ready to fight for Anna, ready to prove that he was worthy of her trust and love. As the weeks progressed, Lucas remained steadfast in his commitment to Anna and her work. He continued volunteering at the community center, helping to organize events and support the families who depended on their services. With every passing day, he found himself more and more entrenched in a world that felt both foreign and fulfilling. Anna's passion and dedication inspired him, and he began to see life through a lens he had never considered before. But despite their growing connection, Lucas sensed that Anna was still holding back. Their relationship had shifted. They shared more laughter, deeper conversations, and moments of intimacy, but there was still a wall between them, one that Lucas desperately wanted to break through. One evening, after a particularly successful fundraiser, Lucas took Anna out to celebrate. He chose a cozy little restaurant that offered a warm ambiance, a stark contrast to the high-end venues he typically frequented. As they sat across from each other, the soft glow of candlelight illuminating their faces, Lucas felt a surge of hope. "You were amazing tonight," he said, genuine admiration in his voice. "You have a way of connecting with people that's truly inspiring." Anna smiled, but her expression was pensive. "Thanks, Lucas. It was a team effort. Everyone came together for a good cause." "I know," Lucas replied, leaning forward. "But it was your vision that made it happen. I want to support you in this. I want you to know that I'm all in, whatever that means for us." Anna's gaze dropped to her plate, and Lucas could see the flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. "You say that, but sometimes I feel like you're still figuring out what you want. I don't want to be someone you're just experimenting with." I promise you, I'm not experimenting, Lucas insisted, his heart racing. This isn't just a bet to me anymore. I want a real relationship with you. I'm trying to be the man you can count on, but I need you to meet me halfway. Anna looked up, her expression softening. I want that too, Lucas, but I still have my doubts. I need to know that you're committed to this for the right reasons, not just because you feel guilty about the bet. I get it, Lucas said, his voice steady. But I need you to trust that I've changed. I'm not the same person I was before. I want to be someone who stands by your side, someone you can rely on. The tension between them hung in the air, thick with unspoken feelings. Lucas could sense that Anna wanted to believe him, but old wounds ran deep, and trust was a fragile thing. He took a deep breath, searching for the right words to break through. Let's make a pact, he suggested, his eyes locked on hers. Let's be honest with each other. No more hiding. If I do something that makes you doubt me, tell me. If I step back into old habits, call me out on it. But I need you to do the same. I want us to communicate openly about our fears and our hopes. Anna considered his proposal, her brow furrowing slightly. That sounds fair. I think we both need that. But it won't be easy. I'm ready for the challenge, Lucas replied, a sense of determination washing over him. I don't want it to lose you, Anna. I want to build something real. As the evening progressed, they began to open up about their fears and aspirations. Lucas shared more about his childhood, the pressures he faced growing up in a wealthy family, and how he often felt isolated despite the riches surrounding him. Anna, in turn, spoke about her own struggles, growing up feeling overlooked and underestimated, her journey to finding purpose in helping others, and the vulnerabilities that came with it. It was an important step forward for both of them. They began to understand each other on a deeper level, and Lucas felt a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, they could navigate this journey together. As the night wound down, they walked hand in hand through the city streets, the cool night air invigorating them. Lucas felt a sense of contentment he hadn't known in a long time. This was more than just a bet. It was an opportunity for growth, connection, and love. But just as he began to feel hopeful, a familiar figure stepped into their path. Mark. He was leaning against a lamppost, a mischievous grin on his face. Look who it is, the man who's forgotten how to have fun, Mark teased, eyeing Anna with curiosity. I see you're still hanging out with the community crowd, huh? Lucas's stomach sank. He didn't want to deal with Mark's skepticism tonight. What do you want, Mark? He asked, while trying to keep his tone even. Just came to check in on you. My friend, Mark replied, his tone light but his eyes sharp. Are you really still with this whole charity gig? I mean, come on, this isn't you. Anna looked between them, sensing the tension. What do you mean by that? She asked, crossing her arms defensively. Mark waved his hand dismissively. Just saying, Lucas is used to the high life. He's a businessman, not some community organizer. You can't expect him to give up his world for yours. Lucas felt a surge of anger. That's not true, Mark. I'm choosing this life. I want to be here, supporting Anna in the community. Mark scoffed. Sure, for now, but I know how you are. This is a phase, Lucas. You can't escape your true nature. Anna stood tall, her gaze fixed on Mark. You don't know him like I do. He's changing. Maybe it's time you let him make his own choices. Mark's expression shifted, a mix of surprise and annoyance crossing his face. Well, if this is what you really want, then good luck. But don't come crying to me when you realize you've thrown away your future for a temporary thrill. With that, Mark turned and walked away, leaving an uncomfortable silence in his wake. Lucas felt a mix of frustration and embarrassment. Mark's words stung more than he wanted to admit, and he could sense Anna's concern. I'm sorry about that, he said, turning to Anna. I didn't expect him to show up like that. Anna sighed, her expression thoughtful. I get that he's your friend, but it sounds like he doesn't understand the changes you're trying to make. You need to be sure that you're doing this for yourself, not because of someone else's expectations. I am doing this for me, Lucas insisted, feeling the need to defend his choices. I want this, Anna. I want you. She searched his face, her expression softening. Then show me, Lucas. Show me that you're serious about this life. Show me that you can be more than what they think you are. Lucas nodded, determination flooding through him. He was ready to fight for what he wanted, to prove that he could change, and to show Anna that he was in this for the long haul. With renewed resolve, they continued walking through the city, hand in hand, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead together. In the days that followed Mark's unexpected visit, Lucas felt a renewed sense of determination. He was ready to prove to Anna, not just to her, but to himself, that he was committed to this new life. He understood that trust was built on actions, not words, and he was prepared to put in the effort needed to show Anna that he had changed for the better. With the community center continuing to thrive, Lucas took on a more active role in helping organize events. He coordinated with local businesses to secure donations and enlisted volunteers to assist with outreach programs. Each small victory at the center filled him with a sense of purpose that had been absent from his life for so long. And with every interaction, he felt the walls between him and Anna begin to crumble. One afternoon, Lucas and Anna were setting up for a back-to-school event aimed at providing supplies for local children. As they worked side by side, Lucas couldn't help but admire Anna's dedication. She was in her element, chatting with volunteers, ensuring everyone had a role, and genuinely caring about the families they were helping. "You're really good at this," Lucas said, passing Anna a stack of notebooks. "You make it look easy." Anna glanced up, her smile warm. "Thanks, Lucas. It's a team effort, really. I just try to keep everyone motivated." "You do a great job," he replied, feeling a swell of admiration for her. "I wish I had your ability to connect with people." Anna paused, her expression turning thoughtful. "It's not just about connecting with people, Lucas. It's about understanding them. It's about being present and listening to their needs. You're starting to get it, but there's still so much more to learn." Lucas nodded, taking her words to heart. He wanted to be the kind of partner who not only supported Anna's work, but also understood the impact it had on the community. As the event drew closer, Lucas proposed an idea to Anna. "What if we created a mentorship program? Something that connects successful professionals with kids in the community. They could learn valuable skills and gain insights into different careers." Anna's eyes lit up at the suggestion. "That's a fantastic idea. It could really inspire the kids and give them a sense of what's possible." Lucas felt a rush of excitement at her enthusiasm. "I'll help you organize it. We can start reaching out to people in our networks to get volunteers on board." "Great. Let's brainstorm ideas after the event," Anna replied, her energy infectious. Lucas was glad to see her passion shining through, and he felt a deep sense of fulfillment knowing he was contributing to something that mattered. As the back-to-school event unfolded, the community center buzzed with activity. Families arrived, kids excitedly picking out their new school supplies, while volunteers handed out snacks and drinks. Lucas watched Anna navigate the crowd with ease, her warmth drawing people in. It was clear that this was her domain, and he felt proud to be by her side. As the day came to an end, Lucas and Anna stood together, taking in the scene before them. The laughter of children echoed in the air, and parents chatted happily with volunteers. It felt like a success, more than just a distribution of supplies. It was a celebration of community spirit. "You did it," Lucas said, glancing at Anna. "You brought everyone together." She smiled, looking satisfied but humble. "We did it, and I couldn't have done it without you." That night, as they cleaned up the center, Lucas felt a sense of hope blooming within him. He wanted to show Anna that he was serious about building a life together. But just as he was beginning to feel comfortable in this new role, the shadows of his past crept back in. One evening, Lucas received an unexpected visit from Mark. He hadn't seen him since the gala, and Lucas was surprised to find his friend standing at his door, looking somewhat serious. "Hey man," Mark said as Lucas opened the door. "Can we talk?" "Sure, come in," Lucas replied, inviting Mark inside. He wasn't sure what to expect, but the tension in Mark's voice made him uneasy. As they settled into the living room, Lucas sensed that this conversation was going to be different, and Mark leaned forward, looking intently at Lucas. "I've been hearing some things around town. People are starting to talk." "What do you mean?" Lucas asked, his heart racing. "I mean, they're saying you're getting soft, that you're spending all your time with Anna, and that you've ditched your business connections," Mark said bluntly. "You're not the same guy who built an empire, and that's raising eyebrows." Lucas felt a mix of frustration and anger. "I'm trying to be a better person, Mark. I want to make a difference. Isn't that worth something?" Mark shook his head, a hint of disbelief in his eyes. "Look, I get that you're all about this community stuff right now, but you can't forget where you came from. You're letting this woman distract you from your goals. You need to focus on your business, not on charity." Lucas felt the tension building. "This is about more than just business, Mark. It's about being a better person, about making a real impact." Mark scoffed, leaning back in his chair. "You really think you can change the world? You're not a saint, Lucas. You're a businessman, and you need to act like one." "What happens when Anna loses interest, huh? My interest, huh? What happens to your precious charity work then?" Lucas's anger flared. "You don't get it. I'm not doing this for Anna's approval. I'm doing it because it matters to me. I want to be part of something real." Mark's expression hardened. "Just be careful, Lucas. You're playing a dangerous game. You don't want to lose everything you've worked for over a fleeting passion." With that, Mark stood up, his visit feeling more like an ultimatum than a conversation. As Lucas watched his friend walk out the door, he felt a pennies of dread wash over him. Was he really risking everything for Anna? He turned to the window, staring out at the city lights, feeling conflicted. Could he truly abandon the life he had built for a future with Anna? The next morning, Lucas found himself restless. He couldn't shake Mark's words from his mind. As much as he wanted to ignore them, he had to confront the reality of his situation. He had built a life of success, but at what cost? After much contemplation, he decided to approach Anna with honesty. They were at the community center, preparing for another event, and Lucas felt the weight of his decision pressing down on him. He needed to discuss his fears openly, to show her he was serious about their relationship while also grappling with the consequences of his past. "Anna," he began, trying to keep his tone steady, "can we talk?" She looked up from her work, curiosity evident in her expression. "Of course, what's on your mind?" "I want to be open with you about something," Lucas said, gathering his thoughts. "Mark came by last night, and he said some of me things that made me question what I'm doing here. He thinks I'm losing my edge by being involved in this community work." Anna furrowed her brow. "What do you think?" "I think I've spent so long focusing on success and wealth, but I'm starting to realize that there's more to life than that now," he admitted. "But I'm scared that I'll lose everything if I focus too much on this and not enough on my career." Anna studied him, her gaze piercing. "Lucas, you have to find a balance. It's okay to be ambitious, but don't let that ambition drown out the things that matter to you now." Lucas nodded, feeling the weight of her words. "I want to find that balance with you. I want to show you that I can do both, that I can be committed to this life and still be the person I was before." As they stood in the community center, surrounded by the sounds of laughter and activity, Lucas felt a sense of clarity. He didn't want to lose Anna, but he also didn't want to sacrifice the parts of himself that had driven him for so long. "You're not just a bet to me, Anna. You've changed me, and I want to make this work," he said, his voice steady. "I'll prove it to you." Anna smiled softly, a glimmer of hope returning to her eyes. "That's all I ask, Lucas. Just be genuine. Show me that you're here for the right reasons." With that, they both felt a shift in their relationship, a step toward mutual understanding. Lucas knew there would still be challenges ahead, but he felt ready to face them, side by side with Anna. The days following Lucas's heartfelt conversation with Anna were filled with a sense of purpose. He dedicated himself to maintaining a balance between his professional life and his commitment to Anna and the community center. With each passing day, he felt more grounded and at peace with the direction his life was taking. Anna, too, seemed more open and relaxed around him. Their shared experiences at the community center helped bridge the gap that had once seemed insurmountable. They worked side by side, laughing and joking as they prepared for upcoming events. Lucas appreciated how Anna brought out the best in him, encouraging him to see the world through her eyes. One afternoon, as they were setting up for a family resource fair, Anna looked at Lucas, her eyes bright with enthusiasm. "I have an idea I want to discuss with you," she said, her voice full of excitement. Lucas perked up, intrigued. "What is it?" "What if we created a series of workshops for families? We could cover topics like budgeting, job interviews, and even cooking healthy meals on a budget. It could empower families and give them the tools they need to thrive," she suggested, her passion radiating from her. Lucas's face lit up. "That's a fantastic idea. We could bring in local experts to lead the workshops and promote them through the community center and social media." "Exactly," Anna exclaimed, her excitement infectious. "I think this could really help the families we serve." As they brainstormed ideas, Lucas felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was what he wanted, to make a real difference in the lives of others while being by Anna's side. He was starting to see his role in this new world not as a means to an end, but as a genuine contribution. That evening, they sat down to finalize the plans for the workshops. Anna's enthusiasm fueled Lucas's own excitement, and together they crafted a comprehensive proposal that they could present to the community center board. After a productive meeting, Anna leaned back in her chair, a satisfied smile on her face. "I can't believe how much we accomplished today," she said, her voice full of warmth. "You really bring out the best in me, Lucas." "And you in me," he replied, feeling a swell of affection. "I've never felt so connected to something before." As the weeks went by, the workshops became a reality. Lucas and Anna worked tirelessly to promote the events, reaching out to local businesses for sponsorship and using their networks to gather support. The community response was overwhelming, with families excited to participate and gain valuable knowledge. The day of the first workshop arrived, and Lucas felt a mixture of nerves and excitement. They had set up the community center to accommodate families, with tables for each workshop and information stations lining the walls. As participants began to arrive, Lucas glanced over at Anna, who was greeting everyone with her trademark warmth. "You ready for this?" he asked, stepping up beside her. Anna smiled, her confidence shining through. "Absolutely. I believe in what we're doing, and I know it's going to make a difference." As the workshops kicked off, Lucas watched Anna in her element. She moved seamlessly from one group to another, engaging with families and encouraging discussions. He was filled with admiration as he witnessed her passion in action. She was more than just a woman he cared for. She was a force of nature, dedicated to her mission. The first workshop went off without a hitch, with families actively participating and sharing their experiences. Lucas felt a sense of fulfillment unlike anything he had ever experienced in the corporate world. He was making an impact, and it felt incredible. After the event, as they cleaned up, Anna turned to Lucas, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We did it! This was amazing!" Lucas grinned, feeling a surge of pride. "I couldn't have done it without you, Anna. You're the heart of this place." She smiled back, but then her expression shifted to something more serious. "Lucas, I need to talk to you about something." The sudden change in her tone made his heart race. What is it?" "I've been thinking about us," she began, her voice steady but tinged with hesitation. "I know we've been making progress, but I want to be sure that we're on the same page." Lucas nodded, his stomach tightening. "Of course. What's on your mind?" "I don't want to rush into anything, but I feel like we're building something real together," she said. "But I also need to know that you're committed long-term. I don't want to go through this if it's just going to end up like before." Lucas took a deep breath, sensing the weight of her words. "I promise you, Anna, I'm in this for the long haul. I want to be with you, not just because of the bet, but because you've changed my life. You mean so much to me." Anna searched his face for sincerity, her expression thoughtful. "I want to believe you, but I need to see it, Lucas. I need to see that you're serious about our future." "I'll show you," Lucas vowed, feeling a surge of determination. "I'm ready to take this next step with you. I want us to be partners in every sense of the word." Anna smiled softly, but there was still a hint of caution in her eyes. "That's a start. Let's keep building this together, and I hope we can reach that point soon." As they stood there, surrounded by the remnants of the successful workshop, Lucas felt a sense of hope wash over him. He was committed to proving himself, not just to Anna, but to himself. This was about more than just love. It was about growth, understanding, and building a life filled with purpose. With their relationship taking shape, Lucas felt invigorated. He knew they had challenges ahead, but he was ready to face them head-on, side by side with Anna. The weeks turned into a series of transformative moments for Lucas and Anna. Their bond deepened as they navigated their shared commitment to the community and their growing relationship. Lucas continued to immerse himself in Anna's world, participating in various outreach initiatives, which brought him a sense of fulfillment he had never experienced before. As the workshops progressed, Lucas began to notice a change in Anna as well. She seemed more open, more willing to let him in. They shared late-night talks about their dreams, fears, and the challenges they faced. Lucas appreciated Anna's unwavering dedication to the community, and it inspired him to work harder to support her. One afternoon, while preparing for a weekend volunteer event, Anna suggested they take some time off for themselves. "We've been working so hard lately, Lucas. How about we have a day just for us? We could go for a hike or have a picnic in the park." Lucas smiled, grateful for the opportunity to reconnect outside of their usual routine. "That sounds perfect. I'd love to spend some time with you." They decided on a local hiking trail that Anna had mentioned before. The following Saturday, they set out early, excited for a day of fresh air and exploration. As they trekked through the forest, surrounded by the beauty of nature, Lucas felt a sense of peace wash over him. It was a welcome contrast to the hectic energy of the community center. Anna led the way, her enthusiasm infectious. "Isn't this place beautiful?" she exclaimed, taking in the vibrant greenery and the sound of birds chirping overhead. Lucas nodded, feeling a contentment he hadn't known in years. "It really is. I'm glad we decided to do this." They reached a scenic overlook where they could see the valley stretching out below them. They paused to take in the view, and Lucas turned to Anna, his heart full. "This is what I needed, a break from everything." Anna smiled back at him, her eyes sparkling. "Me too. It's nice to just enjoy each other's company without any distractions." As they settled on a large rock, sharing snacks and talking about their lives, Lucas felt the barriers between them fading away. He was struck by how easy it was to connect with Anna in this serene setting. There was no pressure, no expectations, just two people enjoying each other's presence. "You know," Lucas began, his voice thoughtful, "I've never been the type to take breaks. I've always felt like I needed to be doing something productive." Anna nodded, her expression understanding. It's important to rest, Lucas. You can't pour from an empty cup. Taking time for yourself and for the people you care about is just as valuable as work. He looked at her, appreciating her wisdom. I'm learning that. Being with you has opened my eyes to so many things. As the afternoon sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, Lucas felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the journey he was on. He wanted to share his feelings with Anna, to tell her how much she meant to him. Anna, he said, his heart racing, I need you to know how much you've changed my life. Being with you has made me rethink everything. I want to build a future with you, together. Anna's gaze met his, her expression softening. Lucas, I want that too, but it's still going to take time for me to fully trust you. I need to know that you're in this for the long haul, not just for the moment. I am, Lucas insisted, his sincerity evident. I want to be with you, and I'm ready to put in the work to prove it. You mean too much to me to let this slip away. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over them, Anna smiled. I believe you. Just remember that actions speak louder than words. Feeling hopeful, Lucas reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers. They sat together in comfortable silence, watching as the stars began to twinkle above them. In that moment, Lucas felt a profound sense of connection with Anna, a bond that transcended their initial bet and had evolved into something real and beautiful. The next week, Lucas continued to immerse himself in Anna's world. He worked tirelessly on the mentorship program they had started, reaching out to professionals willing to volunteer their time and share their expertise with local youth. Anna was thrilled with the momentum they were building, and Lucas felt a surge of pride knowing he was making a difference. However, as the program gained traction, Lucas also noticed an unsettling change in Mark. His friend had become more persistent in trying to pull Lucas back into his old life. One evening, Mark invited him out for drinks, clearly trying to coax Lucas back into the high-energy world of parties and business deals. Come on, Lucas, just one night out, Mark urged. You can't tell me you're happy living this boring life, right? Lucas sighed, feeling the pressure mount. Mark, I'm not interested in that anymore. I'm focused on the community work, on Anna. Mark scoffed, rolling his eyes. You're wasting your potential. This is just a phase. You'll regret it when you realize you've thrown away your career for some charity gig. Lucas felt frustration bubble up. This isn't just a phase for me, Mark. I'm building something meaningful here. I'm finding purpose in helping others. Purpose or a distraction? Mark challenged. Think about it. What happens when Anna gets bored or when the novelty wears off? You'll be left with nothing. The confrontation left Lucas feeling rattled. He wanted to ignore Mark's words, to push them out of his mind, but they lingered, feeding his insecurities. Could he really trust that Anna would want him for who he was becoming, not just for the person he had been? After that night, Lucas found himself caught in a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. He was committed to Anna, but the doubts planted by Mark's words gnawed at him. He began to worry that perhaps Mark was right, that this could all fall apart when faced with reality. As the days passed, he noticed that he was starting to pull away from Anna. He was still there physically, helping with the mentorship program and participating in community events. But mentally, he was retreating into his insecurities. He struggled to balance the fears Mark had instilled in him with his desire to support Anna wholeheartedly. One evening, after a long day, Lucas found himself alone in the kitchen, staring blankly at the wall. He felt the weight of the world on his shoulders, and for the first time in weeks, he felt lost. Just then, Anna walked in, concern etched across her face. Hey, are you okay? You've seemed distant lately. Lucas looked at her, feeling a mixture of guilt and frustration. I'm fine, he lied, knowing it wasn't true. Lucas, you don't have to pretend with me, Anna said softly. I can see something's bothering you. Please, talk to me. Taking a deep breath, Lucas felt the walls he had built around himself begin to crack. He knew he had to be honest with her. It's just, I've been thinking a lot about everything. About us, about my past. Mark has been saying things that have made me doubt myself. Anna stepped closer, her expression serious. What kind of things? He thinks I'm just going to end up back in my old life. That this is all just a phase, Lucas admitted, feeling the weight of vulnerability. I don't want to go back to that life, but I'm scared that you won't want me once the excitement of this fades. Anna took a moment to process his words, her gaze steady. Lucas, I'm not here for the thrill. I'm here because I see you trying to be better. I see you wanting to make a difference. That's what matters to me. But what if I can't keep it up? He asked, his voice cracking. What if I disappoint you? You won't disappoint me, Anna said firmly. But you have to be honest with yourself. It's okay to be scared. We all are sometimes. Just don't let that fear control you. Her words resonated deeply within him, and for the first time, Lucas felt a sense of clarity. He had been so focused on trying to be perfect, to prove himself, that he had forgotten to be real with Anna. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice filled with sincerity. "I've been holding back. I want this. I want us. But I need to trust that you'll still want me when things get tough." Anna reached out, taking his hand in hers. "I will, Lucas. We can face the tough times together. That's what a partnership is about." In that moment, Lucas felt a wave of relief wash over him. The doubts that had consumed him began to fade, replaced by a renewed sense of purpose. He knew there would be challenges ahead, but he also knew that together they could overcome anything. As they stood there in the kitchen, hand in hand, Lucas felt ready to embrace the future, whatever it held, for the first time in a long while. With the weight of doubt lifted from his shoulders, Lucas approached the days ahead with a renewed sense of determination. He knew the journey with Anna wouldn't always be easy, but he felt confident in their bond and committed to showing her that he could be the partner she deserved. As the mentorship program took off, Lucas poured his energy into it. He coordinated workshops, reached out to local professionals, and helped create an engaging curriculum for the kids. The feedback from the families was overwhelmingly positive, and it filled him with pride to see Anna's vision coming to life. One evening, as they wrapped up a particularly successful workshop, Anna turned to Lucas, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I can't believe how far we've come. The kids loved the sessions today." Lucas grinned, feeling a surge of happiness. They really did. It's amazing to see their enthusiasm. Anna's smile faded slightly as she looked at him with a mix of gratitude and vulnerability. "I couldn't have done this without you, Lucas. Your support has made all the difference." Feeling emboldened, Lucas took her hands in his. "And I want to continue supporting you. This is just the beginning. I want to make sure you know I'm committed to this, to us." Anna's eyes softened, and for a moment they were both lost in the moment. But then she pulled back slightly, her expression thoughtful. "I appreciate that, but I still need to be sure we're both on the same page. Our relationship is important to me, and I want to make sure we're building it on solid ground." "I understand," Lucas said, nodding. "What do you need from me to feel secure?" Anna took a deep breath, her gaze steady. "I need to see consistency in your actions. I want to know that you're here for the long haul and that you're willing to put in the effort to make this work, even when things get tough." Lucas felt a sense of clarity wash over him. "I can do that. I want to prove to you that I'm committed, not just to the community work, but to building a life together." With that shared understanding, Lucas and Anna continued to build on the progress they had made. They grew closer, sharing more moments of vulnerability and connection, and Lucas found himself more invested in Anna's world than ever before. But just as things seemed to be falling into place, Lucas received news that would shake him to his core. One afternoon, he was in the middle of a planning meeting for the mentorship program when his phone buzzed with an incoming call from Mark. He hesitated before answering, unsure of what to expect. "Lucas!" Mark's voice was urgent, filled with an energy that set Lucas on edge. "We need to talk." "About what?" Lucas asked, trying to keep his tone even. "About the company. We've got some serious issues on the horizon, and I need you back in the game," Mark replied. Lucas's heart sank. He had worked hard to distance himself from that life, but he could sense the gravity in Mark's tone. "What kind of issues?" "We've lost some major contracts, and it's impacting our bottom line. We need to strategize, and I could really use your expertise," Mark insisted. Lucas felt torn. He had left that world behind, but he also knew that his experience could make a difference. "I'm not sure I want to go back to that life, Mark. I found something meaningful here." "Come on, Lucas, you know how to fix this. You can't just walk away when things get tough," Mark pressed. "You owe it to yourself and to everyone who's counting on you." The conflict inside Lucas deepened. He had fought so hard to build a new life, but Mark's call was a stark reminder of the responsibilities he had left behind. He knew that if he didn't step up, it could have serious repercussions for the people involved in the company. "I'll think about it," Lucas replied, the weight of indecision heavy in his chest. After hanging up, Lucas felt a wave of anxiety wash over him. He didn't want to jeopardize the progress he had made with Anna, but he also felt a responsibility to his past. He needed to figure out how to balance both worlds without losing sight of what truly mattered. Later that evening, as Lucas and Anna sat on the couch discussing plans for their next event, he felt the urge to share the news, but he hesitated, unsure of how to bring it up without disrupting the positive momentum they had built. Finally, he took a deep breath and decided to be honest. "Anna, there's something I need to tell you." She turned to him, concern etched on her face. "What is it?" "I got a call from Mark today," Lucas said, feeling a lump in his throat. "He mentioned some issues with the company and asked me to come back to help." Anna's expression shifted, and Lucas could see the tension creeping in. What do you want to do? I don't know, he admitted, running a hand through his hair. I feel torn. I've built a life here with you, but there's a part of me that feels responsible for the people at the company. Anna took a moment to process his words, her gaze steady. Lucas, I can't tell you what to do, but you need to think about what this means for us. If you go back to that life, will you still be committed to what we're building together? I want to be committed, he replied, his voice earnest. But I can't ignore the responsibility I feel. It's complicated. Anna nodded, her expression thoughtful. It is complicated, but you have to ask yourself, what do you want? What will make you truly happy? Lucas felt the weight of her question. He had spent so long chasing success that he hadn't taken the time to consider what happiness meant to him. He had found joy in helping others and in his connection with Anna. But would stepping back into his old life jeopardize that? As he contemplated his next steps, Lucas knew he needed to be honest with himself and with Anna. He didn't want to make a decision based on guilt or obligation. He wanted to choose a path that aligned with the person he was becoming. I need some time to think about it, Lucas said finally. But I promise I'll keep you in the loop. This is about us now, and I don't want to make any decisions that could hurt what we've built. Anna smiled softly, but there was a hint of worry in her eyes. Just remember, Lucas, whatever you decide, I want you to choose what feels right for you, not what you think you should do. As the weight of uncertainty hung in the air, Lucas felt a mix of emotions swirl within him. He knew he had a decision to make, one that could change everything. As Lucas wrestled with his decision, he found himself at a crossroads. The call from Mark lingered in his mind, a constant reminder of the responsibilities he had left behind. He wanted to focus on building a future with Anna, but the pull of his past was strong. Over the next few days, Lucas dedicated himself to both the community center and the mentorship program, trying to distract himself from the mounting pressure of Mark's offer. He engaged with the families, helping children navigate their aspirations, and took pride in the positive changes he was helping to foster. Yet as the weekend approached, he knew he had to make a decision. One evening, Anna suggested they take a break from the center and spend some time away, just the two of them. Let's go for a drive, she proposed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. There's a beautiful overlook about an hour from here. I thought it might be nice to unwind and just enjoy some time together. Lucas agreed, sensing that the fresh air and change of scenery might help clear his head. They packed some snacks and set off, the two of them laughing and joking during the drive. The conversation flowed easily, and for a moment, Lucas felt at peace, grateful for Anna's presence in his life. As they reached the overlook, Lucas was struck by the breathtaking view before him. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the landscape. They found a spot to sit and unpack their snacks, enjoying the tranquility of the moment. This is beautiful, Lucas said, taking a deep breath of the fresh air. Thank you for suggesting this. Anna smiled, her gaze fixed on the horizon. I thought you could use a break. Sometimes it's good to step back and reflect on things. Lucas looked at her, feeling the weight of his dilemma pressing down on him. Anna, there's something I need to talk to you about, he said, his heart racing. She turned to him, concern flickering in her eyes. What is it? I got a call from Mark. He's been trying to pull me back into the business world, saying there are issues at the company that I should help with, he confessed, his voice heavy with uncertainty. Anna's expression turned serious. And how do you feel about that? I'm torn, Lucas admitted. Part of me feels responsible for the people there. I've spent so much time building that life, but I don't want to lose what we have. I found something real here with you, and I don't want to jeopardize it. Anna reached for his hand, her touch grounding him. Lucas, you need to do what feels right for you. I don't want you to feel obligated to help them if it means sacrificing your happiness. It's okay to want to help, but not at the expense of what you've built here. Taking a deep breath, Lucas felt a wave of gratitude for Anna's understanding. I appreciate you saying that. I want to make the right choice, but I'm scared of what it means for us. You don't have to have it all figured out right now, Anna said gently. Just know that I'm here for you, no matter what you decide. Feeling the weight of her support, Lucas continued. I've learned so much from you about what really matters. I've found joy in helping others, and I don't want to lose that, but I also don't want to walk away from my responsibilities. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting vibrant colors across the sky, Lucas felt clarity wash over him. He didn't have to choose between his past and his future. He could find a way to merge the two. I think I know what I want to do, he said slowly. I'll reach out to Mark and offer to help with the immediate issues, but only on my terms. I want to create a plan that allows me to balance both worlds, supporting the company while also being there for you and the community. Anna's eyes brightened, a smile spreading across her face. That sounds like a great plan. It's about finding that balance and staying true to yourself. Lucas felt a surge of relief at her words. Thank you for being so understanding. I want to show you that I can be the partner you deserve while also fulfilling my responsibilities. They sat in comfortable silence, watching as the stars began to twinkle overhead. In that moment, Lucas realized that he didn't have to choose one path over the other. He could carve out his own unique journey, one that embraced both his past and the promising future he was building with Anna. As they headed back home, Lucas felt a sense of resolve. He was ready to face the challenges ahead, equipped with a newfound understanding of himself and the life he wanted to build. The next day, he called Mark to discuss the situation. As they talked, Lucas outlined his terms. He would help with the immediate needs of the company, but would also ensure that he had time to devote to the community work and, most importantly, to Anna. To his surprise, Mark seemed receptive, albeit still skeptical. All right, Lucas, if that's how you want to do it, then let's see if you can balance it all. Just don't forget what you've left behind. Lucas felt a mix of apprehension and determination as they hung up. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was ready to embrace the challenge. With the mentorship program thriving and the community center flourishing, Lucas found joy in his work while also nurturing his relationship with Anna. They continued to grow closer, building a partnership based on trust, communication, and shared goals. As the months went by, Lucas felt himself becoming the man he had always wanted to be, one who could find success without sacrificing his values or the relationships that mattered most. He realized that true happiness lay not in wealth or status, but in the connections he forged and the lives he touched. In the end, Lucas knew that he had chosen the right path. With Anna by his side, he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, knowing they would do it together. As they stood on the balcony of their apartment one evening, looking out at the city lights, Lucas turned to Anna, feeling an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Thank you for believing in me, Anna. I couldn't have done this without your support. Anna smiled, her eyes filled with warmth. You did this, Lucas. You took the leap and made the choice to change your life. I'm just glad to be a part of it. With that, they embraced, knowing that their journey was just beginning. Together, they were building a future filled with purpose, love, and the promise of what was to come. As Lucas held Anna close, he couldn't help but smile, knowing that he had found something truly special. A love that transcended his past and a partnership that would endure.